Once proud program, right?
Duels since Herb's last year. So this run of coaches, they're 110 and 79. 79 losses, man. That's to me. I think that's the most damning thing of all. Is it doesn't. And here's the thing: it doesn't matter who the coach is. It just you had the hottest assistant coach in the country in Will Muschamp. You had a saving assistant that everybody loved in Jim McElwain, right? You had the throwback to Herb and Dan Mullen, who did a wonderful job at Mississippi State. And then you had Billy Napier, who was the hottest young coach at that time in the coaching hopper. I mean, you if you look at these hires on their face, you're like, all right, those are good moves. It's just every one of them didn't work.
Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Meldon Law Studios at the Hacienda.
Okay, welcome into another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging and coming to you from the Meldon Law Dooley Gator Studios. It's a great day in Gainesville, FLA, although when I went out today, because today's trash day for us, and you can smell the smoke that's coming from everywhere. I mean, I know there's a big fire over in Levy County right now, and it's just, we need some rain. I mean, it's pretty simple math. If it doesn't rain, things are going to burn. And somebody throwing a lit cigarette out into the road is going to end, or into the side is going to end up being a fire. And it's really weird out here right now, but it is unseasonably cool for this time of year at the same time. Now, I'll give you a quick weather report. Next week, it's going to get really hot. So there you go. I'm going to try to play a lot of golf. That's my plan. I'm sticking to it. All right, today on the show, Matt Hayes will join us. Of course, Matt writes for USA Today and is on 1010XL. We always love having Matty on, and we'll talk to him about the Gator basketball situation, what happened there, about Gator football, about Kalen DeBoer's extension. There's just a lot of things we want to talk to him about. And look forward to having Matt on. Coach Spurrier will rejoin us on Monday. We'll have him back, and that'll be fun. And then Peter Burns is scheduled to join us the following Thursday. That's where we are right now, and we'll have a lot of fun with it. All right, let's get to our Money Medals. Starting 5.
MoneyMetals.com is your home for gold and silver purchases, one of the largest distributors in all the United States. 2 Gator grads are running it, and you can reach them at 1-800-800-1865 or at MoneyMetals.com.
Okay, well, I know the Money Metals guys are really happy because actually Mike Leeson was texting me about a week ago about this whole thing with the players, the coming back to basketball. And I called him, we talked for a little bit. And I said, it looks good on Chinyelu and Condon, and Houck's 50-50. And I said that on Monday, that it was 50-50. It wasn't 50-50 on Monday because we now know that Todd Golden flew out to California where Tommy Houck was training for maybe get ready for the draft, trying to make some decisions, and convinced him to come back. And it's certainly great news for the Gators. I think everybody was excited. There was all this crap that was out there about how he was coming back. And I remember there was one they misspelled his name, and that's where I knew it was just all this AI and everything that's going on, and people doing parody accounts. It's you get sucked in. It's very easy to get sucked in. So let's just talk first about the fact that Tommy came back, and I've been kind of going back and forth on this with a lot of people, a lot of different sources that I've talked to, and my conclusion is as follows. 3 things at work, all 3, I think, had a major factor. 1 is NIL, obviously. Now, this report out there, and again, all it takes is one guy to report something, and now it becomes fact, and, that's the way it's going to be from now on. But somebody reporting that Houck got $10 million, that's not true. I can tell you that. I think Florida's total roster is a little bit north of 10 million, which is good for them. It's about double what it was last year. Anyway, and what they've got coming back is pretty impressive. We all know that. Um, I think so. I think that NIL certainly played a part in it, but 10 million, it's not 10 million. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not 10 million. It was significant amount of money, and he should get that. He was now everybody keeps saying Tommy was going to be a lottery pick. He might have been, he might not have been. I mean, he would have been at the bottom of the lottery, or he would have been a first round pick. We know that, and he would have made a lot of money. All right, so that's one. The NIL. Two is the culture that's been created here, and that is not just the culture that Todd Golden has created, and the assistants, Carl and Hartman, and all the guys, Coach Saphir, and everybody. They're doing a great job, and they've created a great culture. But even more so is the culture that his teammates have created. He's tight with Alex Condon. We know that. When Alex comes back, that makes it more interesting. I know that he also, when he was out there in California, talked to Draymond Green. And Draymond Green said, hey, the NBA is always going to be here for you. Have fun. And that is what I'm talking about with culture. And the third thing is Todd Golden, Carlin Hartman back. I think, the fact that people are still speculating that Todd's going to Golden State. Come on, man. Yeah, that's why Tommy's coming back, because he doesn't know who the next coach is going to be. Come on. Don't be silly there. But the bottom line is, it doesn't matter why he came back. These are just my theories. It's just so great that he's coming back. Look, Tommy Houck has been a guy that I have loved to watch play. I thought his play fell off a little bit at the end of last year. Maybe he got a little tired. He was playing a lot of minutes. But you add him into what you've got coming back already with Boogie Flan, with Condon, with if Chinyulu comes back, and I think the speculation is that he will. He's going through the same process that Condon did, and last year. And I think, didn't he do it 2 years in a row? I think he did. Anyway, the point is, this is going to be a pretty good team, obviously. CJ Ingram is announced he's coming back, which I was a little surprised, because I thought if Tommy came back, CJ would go, well, then that takes that spot away from me. I'm not, but no, he wants to be back. He wants to be part of it. I know CJ Ingram and Alex Lloyd have been in the gym every day, shooting, trying to get better, because they know they can't get on the floor if they can't make shots. So, and that again is part of the culture. Look, the bottom line is Florida is going to be the preseason number one by pretty much everybody. I wrote a little thing for Patreon, and I love doing that. My 5 things, five things that are Thomas Houck coming back mean, and one of them was that Florida is going to be the preseason number one. They're going to have an unbelievable non-conference schedule, but they're going to be number one, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on this team. But they had pressure on them last year, and this team didn't buckle to the pressure. They lost the last game by 1 point. In retrospect, it might have been the best thing that could have happened to this team. I didn't think they were going to win it all last year. I think it's hard to go back to back, especially when people are gunning for you. They're going to be gunning for them again this year. It's not. I don't see where the pressure this year is going to be any worse than it was last year. There was a lot of pressure on this team. What did they do? They won how many ever games in a row? I can't even remember now. SEC games, just blitzed through the league. Got knocked out in the tournament, got knocked out in the NCAA tournament. Those things happen. Teams win and lose games. They're going to be really good this year. I was talking to my daughter about this, actually. And she, we talked about, I was telling her all this stuff that, I have gleaned. And she got the biggest smile on her face. She goes, we're going to win it all again, aren't we? And I go, I don't know. I don't know what the matchups are going to be. I don't know if somebody's going to throw in a buzzer beater. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay? We all know that. We all know that we don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, it's certainly great news for the Gators, and it is reminiscent of the 04s. Now, I was having a chat with somebody who was around during that time who did not agree with me. He felt like it was mostly NIL, but it's still the culture that has been built there is pretty good. It is different from the '04s, but it's not different. And here's what I'm trying to say. Yes, NIL is a big part of it. And NIL is going to keep more kids in school and hurt high school kids coming out that want to go somewhere. We know that. But, and the '04s had no NIL. I mean, Corey Brewer's dad was suffering from diabetes so bad he would eventually lose his leg. He's a tobacco farmer, and Corey Brewer came back. He's the reason the other guys came back, because he came back. And when he came back, they go, we got to come back. But they built a similar culture. They wanted to play, they wanted to be coached hard, and they wanted to win games, and they wanted to win at a highest level. And that was the most fun they could ever get. And if you talk to any of those guys, Joe Kim, Al, Corey, Torian, Lee Hump, any of those guys, they will tell you, man, we just loved playing basketball together. And that's what's going on here. These guys love playing basketball together, and they love being around each other, and they're close. That is a great thing. And I said this, and I look to my wife, and I'm like, I may be way overstating this, but I'm going to say what I feel. And that is that people in Gainesville, people on that campus, people who just live in Gainesville, should be proud. You've had two situations where a whole team basically came back. And because you had two elite coaches, they came back. And the coaches haven't gone anywhere. I mean, Todd Golden could have said, "Hey, I'll go to North Carolina. I'll go to anywhere he wanted to go." He could have been interested in the Golden State job, and the players want to come back. People want to play here, and this is why Florida is now a blue blood. And I mean, you can say, "Oh no, they never won anything in the." Look, they're now a blue blood. There's no question, because players want to come back here and play. And this has happened twice. It's not a coincidence. If it happens twice over a period of 20 years, it's not a coincidence. Anyway, that's my feeling. I may be overstating it, but you know me, I like to overstate things. All right, let's move along to number 2 on our Money Metals starting 5. MoneyMetals.com, place to go to get coins, gold bars, and rounds. They're not done yet, this basketball. They're not done with what they're putting together. Now, we all know that Denzel Aberdeen still has to get a waiver. The interesting thing today, I think the story just moved, that Charlie Baker, the head of the NCAA, is asking for an emergency meeting in May to push the 5-and-5 rule forward. And this is where Florida is basing it on. Look, we're going to have 5 years to play 5 anyway. Go ahead and let Denzel get in there. And if they do that in May, I mean, he's going to play. So it's certainly significant that's happening. I thought it was interesting but it is interesting that Todd Golden kind of poked the bear a little bit. Now, maybe it's because he knows what's coming and he understands. And it's not like I'm saying he's dumb to poke the bear, but I never would poke the bear, because if you say to the NCAA, it's only common sense that he gets to play, then they go, hey, wait a minute. Are you saying we don't have it? If we don't let him play, maybe we won't. Look, there has been a lot of situations like that. And usually coaches don't like to poke the bear at all, but they do. And Todd Golden doesn't. He believes in, hey, I'm going to say what I think. So Aberdeen, I think that's going to get done. I don't think there's much question about that now. Chinyalu's probably going to come back. They've still got a player that they're going to get. I don't want to give you deets on it, but he's not from here, not from the United States. That's going to happen later. And there may be one more. We'll see. But this is one thing you have to remember. that this is a year where you can sign 15 players. You can have 15 players on scholarship. What you can't have are walk-ons. Olivier Roy was a walk-on, and I think part of him leaving was that he wants to play basketball and he can't play it at Florida. He's not good enough to play at Florida. We've talked about that. And I think part of it too was, hey, you're a walk-on. We brought you in just to help you and develop you, but we can't have walk-ons anymore, and we're trying to get 15 really good scholarship players. I don't know that conversation took place, but I would guess that it did. So they're not done yet. We'll see whatever they end up at. By the way, Joe Leonardo has already come out with his first bracketology. I don't know if it's his first one, but he changed his bracketology after Houck came back and now has Florida as the number 1 seed, and they're in Charlotte. All right, we're ready to go. I'm like, I did say this too in my thing for Patreon. I go, look, guys, the first time John Sumrall loses a football game, right? Now, it could be at Auburn, could be Ole Miss. They don't play LSU. Could be any, and he's going to lose a game. He's already said, I'm probably going to lose a game my first year. Okay, but the first time he loses it, who's the first person that's going to say, hey, when does basketball start? And that this year, it may be more appropriate than ever. But, we hear that all the time. Anyway, by the way, I just did want to mention this too. The guy, Alvaro Folgueras, who punched Alex Condon, should have been ejected from the game. Still, nobody's ever been able to explain why he wasn't. And then made the shot that knocked Florida out of the tournament. Transfers to Louisville. So one day he's a hero, the next day he's a villain, I mean, he's always going to be a villain here. And I should have found that picture of him punching him and put it on Twitter. Anyway, I ain't worried about that. All right, so that's our basketball for the day, or at least to start. And it's been pretty good news around here for a long time. It's been a lot of, when you think about it, this program won the national title last year, which is huge. Okay, you know that. You're not dummies out there. That is ginormous for this program to win a third championship. Then has the year they had last year to be a 1 seed again. Gets knocked off, but that happens, man. And now is going to be the favorite to win it all this year. And they're going to be overwhelming favorites. Even though Michigan's got a lot back, and they're going to kill it in the portal, or probably have. I don't even pay that much attention to Michigan, the national champs. So they did have the trophy out there at the Detroit game, the Pistons game. That was pretty cool. At first I was like, why is there? Oh, yeah, Michigan won it. Okay, let's go ahead and move along to something not as much fun to talk about on our moneymetals.com starting 5, and that would be baseball. Florida Gator baseball. It is brutal right now. They have lost 4 out of 5, 3 in a row, losing to JU again Tuesday night. Kevin O'Sullivan has read the riot act before, and he read it again. He said, guys, this is what we have. We can't make any trades. This is our team. We got to coach them better, I guess, because we're just not getting it done. And they aren't. The approaches at the plate are terrible. I talked about that. Once Kyle Jones led off that game with a homer, I go, well, everybody's going to swing for the fences now. And that's what happens with these guys, this team. Somebody hits a homer and everybody wants to hit a homer. It's in the pitching. It's just a lot of things not going right. And the bottom line is, you put together this team, Sully. You know that. Maybe he doesn't have the NIL money that a lot of teams have. I know he doesn't. He's nowhere near what an LSU or somebody. And LSU's having a terrible season. So it's not guaranteed. But the bottom line is, it's gotten really ugly. I don't know what the answer is here because, you can say, well, Jackson Barberi comes back. Oh, what? he was okay. He's a good pitcher. He was having a good year. But I don't know how effective he's going to be and when he comes back. They've got a great pitcher, and then they've got a mediocre pitcher, and then they've got nothing right now. They thought Sandifer was going to be the third guy, and he struggled. It's just, look, they're still going to be in the tournament, okay? They're still got a chance to host at least a regional, if not a super regional. If you can get on a little run here, you still got a lot of baseball left. I just don't feel a lot of confidence in this team right now, and I don't know if they lack the clutch gene or if they lack discipline or if they lack attention to detail. Are they paying attention to these scouting reports and watching film of the way guys throw? I don't know. I'm not around the locker room, but it's not good right now. There's no question about it. A&M this weekend here in Gainesville. You need to get 2 out of 3 in this. There's no doubt about it. You know me. I don't never ask for a sweep, and A&M's, they're a pretty good team. Florida's not right now, so they better get it going. And it's everywhere. It's offensively, defensively. They lost the game to Auburn because the guy drops a pop fly, and then they had the throwing error. I mean, it's just they're not doing anything well right now. That's the bottom line. Other than Nathan King, he's the only one really that is doing anything at all. And he's up for pitcher of the year. His ERA's under 2. It is, yes. We had the uplifting basketball. Now we go down with baseball. And let's move along to number 4 and more negative, which is softball. Now, softball's having a great year. Certainly, you go to Tallahassee, another top 10 team, and lose 3-1. It's not the end of the world. You get them back next week here in Gainesville, maybe. But it was when you go 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and they had guys, especially in the first 4 innings of that game, there was somebody on base. It felt like all the time, and they kept getting out of it. The only run that Florida scored was on a Shoemaker leadoff homer to start the game, and then their hitter did the same thing. So, and then she hit another one. So Rothrock and Olivia Miller actually pitched pretty well, but bottom line is that's a tough loss. They're 43-7 though. I'm not going to get down on softball. That's a tough loss. It's tough to go over there and listen to that crowd, and I'm sure it was a great crowd and everything, but they'll get them back here next week. But they also have UCF this weekend, Friday here and Saturday there. We'll give you the times and what channels that's on in a little bit. But anyway, not good with baseball, softball right now. Not good at all. All right, let's move. But again, that's just one softball loss. The only thing is, they lost a game last week they shouldn't have lost. And so, yeah. But they're fine. They're fine. They're still hosting. They're still they're going to host supers right now. They're in good shape. All right, so let's move along to number 5 on our moneymetals.com starting 5. And that would be the draft, which is tonight. It starts tonight. The new rule, 8 minutes between selections, which, again, as somebody who's never been in that seat, I have had to do fantasy drafts. You get a minute, I think, in the fantasy drafts. Whatever it is, it feels like you could get down to 5 minutes. Now, everybody's going to tell you, well, you've done all this research over months and months and months. You've got all this data, metrics, everything. You've got the combine results, you've got the pro day results, and you can't make a pick in 5 minutes. I don't understand that, but I think part of it is that it's a fight between ESPN and the NFL. I don't want to say a fight, but where they want to be able to talk about what happened for a while. They don't want it just to go right to the next pick. They want to talk about it and question it and give their reason for 5 guys to be up in the podium. all that, is probably part of it. But anyway, it's down to 8 minutes, and I guess that's good. I'm going to ask Matt Hayes about this because the Sporting News did a thing about the biggest busts in every round, in every pick, every selection. So the worst number one pick, which was Jamarcus Russell, which he's still mad that people call him a bust, but he was. And 3 Gators were on that list out of the 32 teams. C.J. Henderson is the one I don't agree with being a total bust. The other 2 were Clifford Charlton and Huey Richardson, who, they were just... Huey Richardson, in my opinion, and I didn't know him. I knew him a little bit, and I tried to get him to talk about 9/11. He was supposed to be in the building on 9/11, and he wouldn't talk about it. Huey Richardson was a different cat. I don't know that Huey Richardson loved football. Okay, now Clifford Charlton just didn't work out. Injuries and stuff, but C.J. Henderson's still in the league. He has 34 starts in the league. He's still playing. So I don't consider him a bust. He's not. Now, he should probably not have been picked with a 9th pick. And we'll talk to Maddie about that a little bit later in the show. But the draft tonight, and then tomorrow, and then the next day. And then comes Sunday, and it's my favorite day of the year because nobody's going to be talking about, Monday or Tuesday is really when people quit talking about the draft. But that's a funny thing. The Thomas Houck coming back thing, we're all excited about it, and everybody, let's see what people are saying about it. And you turn on, nobody's talking about Florida basketball. They're talking about the draft and the NBA playoffs. That's it. That's all they care about. And that's fine. That's what national people do. That's what moves the needle. Florida basketball doesn't move the needle in New York, okay, in Bristol, in LA, but it's moving it here, and we're going to keep moving it. All right, that's going to do it for our MoneyMetals.com starting 5. We appreciate our friends at Money Metals. We'll be back with Matt Hayes. We'll talk to him about a lot of different things. Of course, he is the columnist at USA Today, and also 1010XL does radio there. We'll talk to him. We'll do a yes, no, way, or maybe with him, and we'll take a break, and then we'll come back with more of another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
Give me 60 seconds and I'll show you why you should be buying silver and how to get started. Recent price spikes in groceries, healthcare, gasoline, steel, and lumber tell the story of inflation, as do raging bull markets and equities and housing. As the reality of all this inflation sinks in, investors will be acting quickly to diversify and protect themselves, their families, and their assets. That's why we're offering our Silver Starter Kit to help you get started in holding tangible wealth. This mix of our most recommended forms of silver includes 9 silver coins, totaling 4 troy ounces of fine silver. These pure silver coins have a low bid-ask spread, the difference between the price you pay to buy and the price you receive to sell. Low transaction costs are one reason Investopedia calls Money Metals the best dealer in America. Don't waste any more time. Start protecting your savings today with physical precious metals at moneymetals.com/go.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It is great to bring on my old friend, Matty Hayes. Of course, you know him from USA Today, writes some great stuff for them, great columns, and from 1010XL, where he is on. What time are you on? Is it noon to 2?
Noon to 2.
How about me getting that right?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
All right, I want to start out because I'm sure you guys talked about this a little bit, maybe the last couple of days.
Wait, before we go any further, I see that great background. I see 2 Heisman winners. What is your head doing in front of ball coach's Heisman? He is not going to be happy about that, bro. No chance. You're going to hear about that.
All right, Pat Dooley. Well, I'm
disrespectful.
I can't do anything about it though. If I could sit like this, I guess. But
no, because then you're going to go into Danny Wonderful, and you can't do that.
I certainly can't do Tebow.
No,
I'd be arrested for that.
Right. All right, what do you got, man? Let's do it.
All right, let's talk about, first of all, I'm sure you guys talked about this a lot on the show, Gator basketball with Tommy Houck coming back.
Yeah.
And we don't see this very often. I mean, we're all these guys come back. I mean, it says something about the culture they've created there, and it says something about NIL too.
I mean, it's a lot like the 05s, really, if you think about it. I mean, it's not only that, he got a player who left for more money in Kentucky to come back to Florida, which I'm guessing for probably less money. I don't think it was more. No, so, I mean, you've got a legit 6, 7 guys, depending on how a couple guys develop, maybe even 8, to take another run at it. Yeah, they will clearly be the preseason number 1. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I said, I wrote a thing for Patreon. I said the only people that won't have them are Emu Forever and Magazine and, the Ukrainian Digest.
So, touchdown Alabama.
Yeah, and touchdown Alabama. That's right. They won't have a number 1, but everybody else will. I mean, it's an amazing story. And I remember the day Todd Golden got introduced, I'm like, all right, this seems like a reach to me. This little skinny guy that's going to come in here now, won a natty, got a number 1 seed the next year, and probably going to be a number 1 seed this year. So
has North Carolina coming after him, has the NBA coming after him. It's a remarkable story when you think about how close it came to almost ending.
I know.
From random stuff. Random people, saying this and allegations here and allegations there. And he weathered that storm. Not only weathered that storm, but they won a national title in that season. That's what I think, to me, is like so wild. I haven't seen anything like that since Cam Newton weathered that storm at Auburn and went unbeaten and won a national title. But it's just different because at a coach level instead of a player level. Cam went through some unbelievable stuff away from the field that he had to deal with. Same with Todd Golden. Just remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Now, this past season, obviously a little disappointing because you essentially have a home game in the NCAA tournament, and you lose to an Iowa team that really is offensively challenged. It was, I think it was very disappointing. Very disappointing for them too, I'm sure.
But I think it helped Florida get some of these guys back.
Yeah, no doubt.
They didn't want to end their careers that way because it had been such a great ending to the previous year. And I think that's one reason that a lot of these guys did come back. But it's going to be fun to watch. I don't know if you noticed that the guy who made the shot for Iowa that beat Florida and also punched Compton is now at Louisville. So is he still a hero for them?
It's a big shot, man. It's a big shot, I'll tell you that. But to be fair, for some reason, they weren't playing perimeter defense. I mean, I don't know why, but they weren't. So that's a whole other story.
You're allowed one mistake as in your career. That's it.
All right. Fair enough.
Hey, Mike Vrabel's going through it right now,
He's going through some we don't need to veer off on that exit road, but I'll tell you what, he's not going to be the only one going through it. The other person in that situation got a problem, got a big problem.
I don't know how she's going to be able to walk into a locker room ever again.
Never again.
No.
Never again.
And I mean, I don't even know either one of these people, so I'm not trying to rip them, but this seems like you can do things a little quieter. But hey, there's a camera everywhere. Everywhere.
Everybody's got a phone.
There's a camera on you because you're on my Zoom.
Right, which is why we probably shouldn't even be talking about this. So let's go to the next thing.
The next thing, which will be, I do want to talk about Kalen DeBoer getting an extension, which there are a lot of people saying, what? And there are other people going, okay, we wanted to lock the guy up. What's your take on it?
Tools. It's fiscally reckless. You're extending a guy by 2 years, okay? You're extending him not only by 2 years, you're also adding $2.25 million to his deal. So you're going to pay a guy $12.5 million annually for 8 losses in his first two seasons, for not reaching the CFP his first season, for being a 9 seed his second season, and sustaining the worst bowl loss in the history of the program. Okay? You're extending a guy and giving him a buyout in case you have to fire him because it goes sideways, because as we all know, these things go sideways in college football. The first year, I think 68 million. The next year after that is like 59 million. Like, you're into it. You are into this guy now, okay? In case you have to fire him. You're doing that for a coach who lost to Vandy for the first time in half a century, all right? Who lost to Oklahoma with a college football playoff spot on the line as a 14-point favorite by 21. Who lost to Florida State last year in the season opener with all that offseason of, Florida State talking and chirping and the Alabama players saying disrespect will be attended to, all disrespect. You lost by 14 there, and Florida State beat on the year East Texas State, Kent State, Wake Forest. Who else did they beat? Someone else in Alabama. Some other bad team in Alabama. And this is the guy you're giving $12.5 million a year? Like, if I'm Miss Terry and I'm sitting there in my sweet little Tuscaloosa home, I'm looking at Nick going, we might have to get back in. Might be time to get back in. If they're throwing around that type of money for a guy who's 20-8 and who just sustained the worst bowl loss in the history of the program, my God. I don't care if Penn State kicked the tires. I don't care if Michigan kicked the tires. You know what? Go. I'll find someone else.
And there's a lot of good coaches would love to go to
I'll find someone else who'll lose 8 games in his first 2 years, okay?
Could have gotten rid of him and hired Lane Kiffin, because I guarantee you'd have gone to Alabama over LSU.
Jules, I'll find someone else to lose to Vandy for the first time in half a century, okay?
You can get that guy?
I'll find someone else. Hey, you ready for this? Whose quarterback says, we knew everything that Indiana was doing on defense. Everything. Every single play, we knew what they were going to be in, and they still scored 3 points. Yeah. 3 points.
Not good.
Either your coaching is not good because you're not adjusting, right? Or Indiana, once the armpit of college football, in 2 years under Cignetti, has a better roster than Alabama. Either of those options are just devastating. Absolutely devastating.
Let me shift over to Florida, and look, I know Summerall was on your show. He's done everything. I think he is going on.
Not on my show. He was on the station. He wasn't on my show.
Yeah, but I think he's going on the Eileen Silverman show this week. But
not going on my show.
Did you know?
For reasons that we all know and will be left unsaid, okay? Look, this is a podcast. We can do like little crazy stuff like this. So anyway, Go ahead.
No. I want to know what the reasons are.
No, we know. Come on, keep going.
Okay.
Anyway, let's talk about Summerall.
Okay, so people keep asking me. I get this every day. I go to the gym. I go to the convenience store. They go, so what do you think of the new coach? I'm like, he's saying all the right things, but
yep.
I don't know. I think they're going to struggle a little bit this year.
I love the way he's going about it. I love the way he's attacking it. I think that's what they need. And, you go from 4 years from a guy who really was, I don't know the best way to say it, kind of measured, probably the best way to say it, to a guy who's going to get out there, man, to a guy who's out there and he's going to speak things and he doesn't care what he doesn't care what you think. I don't mind that as long as it translates to the field. And I think we also need to understand this is, for as much as everybody rips Billy Napier for what happened at Florida, and believe me, he deserves a lot of it. He left him some good players, man. He left him, not only that, he left him potentially his starting quarterback if Tramel Jones wins that job. Left him 2 really good receivers, left him the best running back in college football, left him a great core on defense. So, there's no, we don't have anything here. Left him a structure of, in place of how you can recruit and retain players, not only from high school, but the transfer portal. He has all the financial backing that Billy Napier had as well. So let's see, man. He's got it all. Let's see if he can do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Billy Napier had it all too.
Yeah.
I know you wrote a big piece on him, and he talked about the culture wasn't right when he got there, and I'm like, well, then change the culture.
No,
And
he knew that. I think people misunderstood that. I think what he was saying was for the first time is he walked into a program where at JMU where he didn't have to do anything. It was just all there. Everything was set up. Now he knows that he made mistakes. He's not an idiot, right? And I just think if you look at what he did, you look at the decisions he made. He didn't bring enough SEC guys with SEC experience on his coaching staff. He hired Chris Farley as his defensive coordinator, which is just a horrific mistake. Just an absolutely horrific mistake. He didn't have a special teams coordinator.
For Chris Farley, that's good.
Didn't have a special teams coordinator. Another just horrific mistake. Okay. He tried to hire Charlie Weiss Jr., which is smart, very smart. Just didn't happen. And then when it didn't happen, he got too deep into it. Then you start to see, well, why would somebody come here if they know they could get fired after year 3, they could get fired after year 4. And then year 4 rolls around and he knows this is it, make or break. And every coach does this. Look, if I'm going down the ship and it's going to be on me. It's going to be me, which is why he kept the offensive coordinator job. It's not right because he was asked to change it, obviously, but he did. So look, if you're going down, you may as well take your swings.
Yeah, I do. This one number that I looked up the other day, in the last 66 games, Florida's 29-37. Think about that for a minute.
It's unreal.
Once proud program, right?
Duels, since they won the national title, since Herb's last year. So this run of coaches, they're 110-79. 79 losses, man. That's to me, I think that's the most damning thing of all. Is it doesn't, and here's the thing, it doesn't matter who the coach is. It just you had the hottest assistant coach in the country in Will Muschamp. You had a Saban assistant that everybody loved in Jim McElwain, right? You had the throwback to Herb and Dan Mullen, who did a wonderful job at Mississippi State. And then you had Billy Napier, who was the hottest young coach at that time in the coaching hopper. I mean, if you look at these hires on their face, you're like, all right, those are good moves. It's just every one of them didn't work for one reason or another.
And there was never a bad firing either. I mean, they had to fire all the guys they fired. So
all of them right around the Georgia game too. All of them.
I know. Let's concentrate on beating Georgia. Well, your coach is getting fired, but it is weird. Let me ask you this, because obviously the draft's tonight, and is it less exciting because the Jaguar around your place because the Jags don't have a first round pick?
I think there's a little less buzz, but I think there's definitely excitement still because I mean the city's crazy about this team right now. And
Yeah.
I think that's what, as much as anything with Liam Cohen, what he's done is he's revitalized like the passion for this team. I mean, you can only get knocked down so many times by, the worst team in the NFL, a 4-win team, before you start to apathy starts to set in. And you got a guy that came in and completely turned it around, won 13 games. They kind of blew that Bills game, man. And quite frankly, if you look at that AFC, they probably blew their chance to get to the Super Bowl too, because they beat the Broncos by 14 when they played them in Denver in the regular season. Patriots weren't beating them. The Patriots were an incredibly overrated team that had an easy schedule throughout the whole process. They could have, had they gotten by the Bills, they blew 2 fourth-quarter leads, by the way, in that game. Couldn't get off the field on defense. They get by that game, they might get to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're going to beat the Seahawks, who they lost to in the regular season at home, but at least you're there.
Yeah.
And if you go there to the Super Bowl for the first time in franchise history, my God, and then everything changed.
Yeah, I remember the last time they almost got to the Super Bowl, which would have been the Trevor Lawrence was
17.
17.
Yeah, Trevor got there. They lost in 22. They lost at the Chiefs in the divisional round when they fumbled inside the 5 when they were down 9. They could have scored, and they had all the momentum. They fumbled, and that game ended.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do and what goes on with the draft. I mean, I'm not a big draft guy anymore. I mean, back in the old days, I would be in that Times Union. And this was when the draft was in the middle of the afternoon, like on a Wednesday, and I would
Right.
have people and all my stuff, and I'd be charting everything, and I was into the draft. But now I'm like,
Did you have the hotline to Joel Bushbaum then? Were you and Joel breaking it down?
him and Dave Goldberg and all those guys, man. Howard Balzer and I, yeah,
Howard Balzer, yes.
we used to talk to him all the time. But it'll be, hey, I think this is going to be an interesting. I wanted to ask you about this because I said I was going to talk to you about this. Sporting News did a thing where they had the biggest bust by every pick
Right.
over time. 3 Gators made the list. I don't agree with one of them. I think CJ Henderson was a bust for Jacksonville, but he's still in the league. He's got 34 starts. I think bust is a little rough for him.
You're a top 10 pick, man. You got to be elite.
That's a good point. Maybe
Or
it's
close to elite, or at least close to it. He was first off, when he was picked by the Jaguars and they went to remember that? They went to his house, he gets picked, and it looks like he's like, what just happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want none of this. And it just never worked out here. And then he went to the Panthers, and it really didn't work out there either. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, he's still in the league, but I mean, the other two are Huey Richardson, who I just don't think like playing football, and
Clifford Charlton.
Yeah, but
Same player. He and Huey, the same player.
exactly. They were
Great college players.
great in college, but yeah, I mean, the thing with Henderson is such a quiet guy. I remember interviewing him and Marco Wilson one day, and
Before or after the shoe toss?
yes, he answered all the questions. I should have asked about the shoe, but that was pre-shoe. I will never let that go. In my
No,
life,
that cost Dan his job. That
Yep.
literally cost Dan his job.
there's 2 things I will never let go. One is the shoe throw, and the other is Todd Grantham to Chaz Henry. You're going to F and choke when he was at Georgia. So
Right.
I never will let that go with Todd Grantham. So, and he knows that. I've told him that. All right. Matt Hayes is coming to you on the Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line. It is time for us to play the game we love to play. Yes, no way, or maybe with Matt Hayes, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. Street dining done the right way. Go over there and tell them you want a nice big sausage dog and some fries, and you get free
Nice.
fries with your order if you say you listen to Matt Hayes on the podcast. So here we go.
Wait, this is all about sports, right? This isn't like, you're not going to veer away from sports here, are you?
No, but
In trouble? All right.
Laura Rutledge the question, do you still have the sash you won for Miss Florida? So
Oh, okay. All right.
now, I'm not going to. You didn't win Mr. Florida, did you?
No, I did not. Olympia, maybe. Florida, no.
All right, number 1, you will question the Jags 56th pick on the radio.
100%. Yes, 100%. That's what I'm paid to do.
I don't
Even
know.
if it's a great pick, I'll say it's a great pick, but how do you not? How do you not at least say, okay, this could be this, or that could be that?
Yeah,
Right?
There's a reason Bailey fell to the 56th pick. Still don't think it's a good pick.
Look, I'm not out there with teal pom-poms. I have to give both sides of the story, right?
I agree with you.
Yes, 100% I'll question it. Yes.
All right, I asked somebody else this question, but I'm going to ask it to you too because I think it's a good question. Yes, no way, or maybe Florida will be ranked at some point this season.
Oh, yes. I think maybe in the first poll.
No, they won't be in the first poll.
I wouldn't shock me at all. They were like 25, 24, 25. Wouldn't shock me in the least.
So if they get, and then let's just say they're not ranked, but they're receiving votes and they beat FAU and Campbell. They may go they're 2-0. Let's stick them in there.
I mean, it is the Camels. You don't just bring the Camels into your place and think you're going to get a dub, man.
Hey, it's the fighting Camels, okay? I would say if they beat Auburn on the road the third game, and they're 3-0, that's when they'll get ranked. That's my opinion.
I agree with that.
All right, and finally, number 3 on yes, no, where, maybe with Matty Hayes. Florida, Georgia will not feel the same this year with it being in Atlanta.
Look, I love it in Jacksonville. I know you do too. I think it's still a game. It's still the game. The game is the game. I mean, it will be a little different. There's no doubt, but that game is so unique, man. That game is so awesome. I think it's going to be a lot like I think the SEC championship game, which Florida and Georgia have never played and can never play. Well, they can now.
Good technically.
It'll be a lot like that.
Florida being there this year, though, I can tell you that.
Yeah, right. It'll be that kind of atmosphere. It'll be loud. I'll tell you that. It'll be really loud. But when that thing comes back to Jacksonville in that new stadium, it'll be sweet. It'll be really nice.
Yeah. No, I my theory was, well, once they go into these neutral sites, they'll go, this is where we need to be, because they can offer us more. And then Scott Strickland said, you can't imagine how much money we're going to make in Jacksonville.
Of course. It's about money. It's all it is.
It's all.
And I'm with him. I don't. There's no way you can say no to like $10 million more annually. Like, why would you do that? Because if you play home and home, you lose every other year. You lose that cash.
Especially when you're playing, when you're paying coaches this ridiculous amounts of money, and you're paying
not coach
players now, and
Yes.
You're gonna any money opportunities that come about, you're gonna take. All right, Matt, we'll let you go, buddy. Appreciate your time.
Okay, Pat Dooley.
All right, we'll be back with more of another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios right after this break.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
By now, you heard about the Florida Legends Experience and Gala, featuring Gator Heisman greats Tim Tebow, Danny Warfel, and Steve Spurrier, all in one place at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Imagine catching a pass or taking a handoff from a Heisman winner, all while supporting Isaiah 117 to help provide safe, loving homes for children in need. Then enjoy an unforgettable evening at the Gala, filled with great food and lasting memories. Don't miss this historic event. Find out how you and your business can get involved at fllegends.com. That's fllegends.com.
All right, it may be a new year, but it doesn't mean you have to back off any of your goals as far as losing weight. I know I've been working even harder on it, and of course I get an assist from BMI TeleMed. They help us out with our New Year's resolutions, even if I've already broken two of them. Not the food ones, though. Weight loss is your goal. Get with BMI TeleMed. They use GLP-1 medications, and they are individualized, and that's the great thing. I've been through this, and Charlie, just talking to him, it was so great to make him understand, and he understood what I was doing. It's not about just losing weight. It is about keeping it off. You know that. We're all excited about the new year, and we're going to lose weight, but when you lose it in the first month, then you got to keep going. BMI TeleMed is sensible. It's straightforward. It's affordable. No contracts or hidden costs. BMI TeleMed is donating $1 for every pound you lose to the Florida Victorious Foundation. So go Gators. Join the listeners on this podcast who've already lost over 600 pounds. Are you kidding me? I'm 60 of them right there. All right. Contact BMI TeleMed today at 727-383-1677.
Okay, welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Appreciate Matt for coming on. We got a lot of things to get to, so let's get to them, starting with our Hesser and Kipke. Three things. Hesser and Kipke, with over 50 years of combined legal experience in North and Central Florida, Hesser and Kipke is your place for bankruptcy, workers' compensation, and family law. Call or text Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920, Hesser and Kipke. All right, so I've been waiting for a pretty good part of the day to deliver this line. But number one on Hesser and Kipke, three things, is that the Yankees players have gone to management and said, we want to have an alternate jersey we can wear. We want to do that. Okay. That's, I'm sure there'll be people that are up in arms. They got to stick with the pinstripes. But the Mets have also asked for alternate jerseys. They want them to say Los Angeles across them. Boom! See, I've been waiting all day to do that. The Mets did win last night after losing 12 in a row. But I don't know if I'm not a Yankees guy, so it doesn't matter to me what they wear. I think the alternate uniforms are kind of dumb in a way. They're only there so that they can sell them, you know. That's the only reason everybody wears all these weird jerseys is to be able to sell them in gift shops, team gift shop. But anyway, we'll see what the Yankees decide to do there. The Mets, maybe you need to wear different jerseys. Maybe you need to wear softball jerseys. Anyway, hey, if you can't make fun of the Mets, who can you make fun of? All right, number 2 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. I did not know this, but and just be prepared that you're going to get a lot of WNBA basketball coming on your TV. Now, you can turn it off if you want to. I'm not into the WNBA. I do like women's college basketball. I would like it better if Florida was good at it. I would probably pay attention to the WNBA if people, somebody I knew, players that I covered or been around were playing in it, but I just doesn't do much for me. A non-dunking league. I'm not anti-women, and I'm not anti-women's sports. You know that. I believe in women's sports very much. I just haven't been able to maybe if there's a team closer to us, I don't know. Just haven't been able to get into the WNBA. It is good basketball, but it's just not elite basketball. I'm just going to say it. All right. Anyway, this is the point. They're going to have 216 games on national television. Now, that's a lot. That's good for them. All 44 of Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever games are going to be on TV. So I guess that's how many games they play, 44. So if you're into the WNBA and you're into Caitlin Clark, and I certainly was into her when she played college. I watched a lot of games she played. You should be excited. You get 216 games this year. Pretty exciting. All right, and let's get to number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. And that is Mike Tomlin. The news just came out this week that Mike Tomlin is going to be on NBC on their Monday night or their Sunday night broadcast. And the only thing I know Mike Tomlin's going to be great. He's really good with the media. He's just very, I think he'll be great. And all I can do is just go, so this is why Tony Dungy's out there. Because Tony Dungy put out a thing about a week and a half ago saying he was not going to be with NBC anymore. He enjoyed his time there, blah, blah, blah. And they were probably came to go, hey, we want Mike Tomlin. We think he's really good. Tony Dungy's okay. I've never been a big, he's okay. I don't turn on TV to watch him. I'll turn on the first game of the year to watch Tomlin and see what he says. And he'll probably say some things that'll be fun. Anyway, it'll be interesting. I just want to know if that's the only reason that Tony Dungy got out. I'm just curious. Anyway. All right, let's move along from Hesser and Kipke 3 things to our Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend. This was slim pickings. I wasn't going to pick a baseball or softball player. So you know who I went with was Autumn Blair. Now, I don't know how many of you know who Autumn Blair is, but she is our Big 12 Freshman of the Week. Yes, the Big 12. We dominate the Big 12 in lacrosse. But she had a big week. She had 4 goals against JU and then another goal against who'd they play in the last game? I'm blanking on it, whoever it was. It was a Big 12 game, though, I know that. And, Florida's going for the Big 12 championship this weekend. So the undisputed championship. But that's another thing to be aware of. We'll talk about this is the Big 12 championship is going to be here next week, so that'll be fun. All right, so Autumn Blair is our Big 12. She's a Big 12 Freshman of the Week, and she's also our Adams Ribco Gator of the weekend or the week. And we'll go over there and get some Nana's Nuggets tomorrow and celebrate. Autumn, you're welcome to join us. It's a standing invitation. All right. We love our Adams rib. Let's get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper. Quick picks. Our winner last week, Adam, I've got your stuff here. I'm going to mail it. And he lives in Gainesville, so it'll get there. $25 at Adams. He chose, I gave him options of things to choose. He chose a copy of my book, 100 Things Every Gator Fan Should Do Before They Die. What's one of my books, but I ordered a bunch of them because I want to be able to give them away on this show, on when I'm writing for Main Street Daily News. I want to be able to have a contest on there. I want to do a contest on Patreon. So I ordered a bunch of books, and they are available for sale, signed by me, if you want one as well. Anyway, I'm not trying to be a what's the word? A huckster? Is that the word? No, I don't know. I'm not trying to be that. Anyway, you guys have been wiped out on the Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. You are not doing well. Everybody keep picking the Gators. Okay, so we're gonna give you 3 chances to win here. 3. Okay? 3 chances to qualify, and we're not far away from doing another poll. 3 games. Detroit these are all Saturday games, so you have time to get the picks in. No worries about that. Saturday, Detroit at Orlando, NBA, baseball versus A&M at home Saturday, and softball at UCF Saturday. All those games. Pick them. So you go Florida, Detroit, or whatever you want to do. Maybe you stay with maybe you don't pick the Gators. That may be a good option. Anyway, if you get all 3 right, you qualify 3 times, so that's a good thing. All right, let's move along to our BMI TeleMed Smart Move of the Week. It is brought to you by our friends at BMI TeleMed, your weight loss specialist. Achieve and maintain with BMI TeleMed, 727-383-1677. Just give them a call and tell them you heard this on Pat Dooley's podcast, and you will get a discount on your order. Our smart move of the week belongs to Greg Byrne, who been in the news a lot lately, but he was definitely yesterday because they signed Kalen DeBoer to an extension. He's also got Nate Oates locked up. And now when I say locked up, anybody can leave whenever they want, but you got to pay, a buyout if you leave. I think DeBoer's is like $10 million. I think Nate Oates is around $10 million just to leave. And that doesn't mean you can't come up with it, but it's still a smart move. Look, Kalen DeBoer was in the playoffs last year, and there was talk about him going to Michigan and all this stuff, and I'm sure that Jimmy Sexton had a lot to do with that. I don't even know if Jimmy Sexton is his agent, but whoever his agent was had a lot to do with that. But the bottom line is he's still going to make $12.5 million this year. And I think he's a really good coach. And I think Alabama fans probably don't deserve him because they're going to bitch and moan about him until they run him out of town. But it is what it is. Anyway, that's our BMI TeleMed Smart Move of the Week. Belongs to Greg Byrne. Let's get to this, that, and the other.
You want this, that, and the other.
Okay, this, that, and the other, of course, is brought to you by our good friends at Notary Joe's. Notary Joe gets it done with all of your needs for mobile notary. He'll come right to your house and do all your notary work for you. It is brought to you by Darshackow Insurance. For all your home, auto, commercial, and life needs, Darshackow Insurance is the only place to go. And it is brought to you by the Atlanta Hustle. You can go on their website, Atlanta Hustle, and find out where the Ultimate Frisbee team is playing and what their special deals are. And all you have to do is go on their website, and that is brought to you by Matt Lerner Law. Appreciate Matt Lerner for being part of this show. All right, let's get to this, that, and the other, and that is this is that the 24-team playoff seemed to be gaining strength last week. And there are a lot of people that really don't want it, mad about it. I want it because it's more games. That's all I care about. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to say, 24. God, we're going to let the 24th best team into this thing? Sure, let them in. How many teams have we let in the NCAA basketball tournament? 68. How many teams have we let in the NCAA baseball tournament? 64. How many teams have we let in the NCAA in golf, tennis, lacrosse? Nobody holds it down to 12. The most popular sport in college is football. We know that. It runs the engine. Do whatever they want you to do, okay? Whatever you can get out of ESPN. Do it and have more games on and make the late games. Think about this, what November is going to be like if 24 teams can get in it, okay? So I am in favor of it. A lot of people aren't. But we need inclusivity. I'm telling you, it otherwise it's going to be demanded of you and not in a good way. So that's this. Well, so that is, hey, there's a meeting in Dallas where they always have the meetings. They like to have them there because there's a really nice hotel that they like to have it at. And I'm like, oh, maybe this will be interesting. And the other, of course, is that nothing happened. They came out, and the guy, who is in charge of the CFP now, I'm blanking on his name. I think his last name is Black. He said that we gotta keep talking about this. There's no stone that should be unturned on this thing. And I'm like, well, you just talked about it for an hour. You've been talking about it forever. And Greg Sankey came out and said, I still want 16. So the bottom line is Greg Sankey's holding this up. Now, maybe you're of the belief that it shouldn't go to 24, and you're welcome to your opinion, and you have the same opinion as Greg Sankey. He doesn't want to go to 24. He just doesn't want to be all that inclusive with it. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is it made this, that, and the other this week. So, oh man, it drives me nuts. It does drive me nuts how we can't get people to come together and be as one and figure out how to make college football the greatest sport in the world. Because right now it's the second most popular sport in the United States, not the world. I don't care what people are watching in Czechoslovakia. Okay, sorry. But I mean, the bottom line is we can't get this figured out. We can't sit down and have this done, and it's been going on forever, it feels like. Anyway, it is what it is. All right. That is our this, that, and the other for today. Let's move along to our Los Linderos. Smooth move of the weekend brought to you by Los Linderos Tequila. Go beyond with my favorite tequila and Urban Meyer's favorite tequila. All right, our smooth move of the weekend was Andy Beshear, who, of course, is the governor of Kentucky. And he came out and said, why are we paying Mitch Barnhart $1 million for a job that has no title it has a title. I don't even know what it is. It's like emeritus just dude or whatever. But anyway, but it has no job description. And we're going to pay him $1 million a year? Well, it's kind of similar to what happened here with Scott Strickland. And I know what happened with Scott Strickland, and I know the reasons why the board wants him to be around and be able to consult and pay with him and help raise funds. But this is the parachute that a lot of people get in a lot of different activities. The problem is things are not going very well at Kentucky. They just fired their football coach, didn't have a great year. A lot of people want to fire their basketball coach, didn't have a great year. Lost 3 times to Florida. Yeah, I questioned it too. I question all these golden parachutes. But, when the governor comes out and says something about it, that does make it a bigger deal. So pretty smooth for him to do that. All right, so let's wrap it up as we always do with our Swamp Restaurant. Games of the weekend brought to you by the Swamp Restaurant, the place to go for great food, great drink specials, and to watch games on TV and the big screens and the inside TV. Oh, it is a place to go. There's no doubt about it. Baseball. I'm going to give you the Gator baseball schedule. If you don't want to watch, it's okay. I'm not trying to be too negative about baseball, but it's been very frustrating. 6:30, this is against Texas A&M at home. 6:30 is the Friday game. That's on the Plus. 5 o'clock is the Saturday game, and that's on the SEC network. And then 1 o'clock for Sunday, and that's on the Plus as well. So you got a lot of Plus watching. And if you like softball, you got a lot of Plus watching too. They play UCF at home, 6 o'clock Friday. That is on the Plus. At UCF Saturday, 6 o'clock. That is on the Plus. So a lot of plussing going on there. SEC golf Saturday. Now, again, I don't know if Florida's going to be in it on Saturday. It's Thursday. They're still playing. They're playing right now as we speak. But assuming they will be, Saturday it's on the Plus. Sunday it is on the SEC network. If they're in the final, it'll be on the SEC network, so you can watch it there. And we're rooting for J.C. Deacon and his team and all the great players they have. The draft, of course, is at 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN and ABC. Friday it's at 7. Saturday it's at noon. You know who will not be part of Saturday's broadcast? Mike Vrabel, who took he's going to go have counseling on Saturday. So that story just gets weirder and weirder. Not only that, but it's pretty clear it was inappropriate behavior if you're going to counseling. I'm not going to get too into this, because it's just a lot of stuff going on there. And I'm just going to leave it right where it is. But it's a weird story. Kind of fun story to watch, but anyway. All right, so he won't be there Saturday at noon. I wanted to give you two other things. Detroit at Orlando in the NBA playoffs Saturday. It's on Peacock and NBC Sports Network. I don't know if you get any of those things, but if you do, you can watch the Magic on there. And then Sunday, the Tampa Bay Lightning. I know there's a lot of Lightning fans out there. They're at Montreal, 7 o'clock on ESPN. So that'll be a good game to watch. All right, that's going to do it. We've got it done. And appreciate everybody for being part of it. Always appreciate Zach Rothrock for being our producer. He does a great job. We'll be back with another show on Monday. The HBC will join us. We'll see what he thinks about the draft. We'll see what he thinks about what's going on with all the Gators coming back for basketball. I know we'll be happy about that. I'm sure we'll talk some golf as well with Coach Spurrier. Until then, I am Pat Dooley for another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging and coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. I am deep, I am way back, and I am out of here.